ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ
ॐ
नमो
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
देवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ
ॐ
नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ
ॐ
नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
We can say all together. ओम
ॐ
अज्ञानस्य
अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य
ज्ञानस्य
ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं
चक्षुर्मिलितं
येन
येन
तस्मै
तस्मै
श्रीगुरवे
श्रीगुरवे नमः।
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं
स्थापितं
स्थापितं
येन
येन
भूतले
भूतले
स्वयं
स्वयं
रूप
रूपा कदा
मह्यं
मह्यं
ददाति
ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्।
स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं
वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो
श्रीयुतपदकमलं
श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च
श्रीरूपं
श्रीरूपं
साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं
रघुनाथान्वितं
तं
तं
सजीवं
सजीवं
साद्वैतं
साद्वैतं सावधूतं
परिजनं
परिजनसहितं
सहितं कृष्णं
कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं
चैतन्यदेव
श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान्
श्रीराधाकृष्ण
सकललिता
पादान्
विशाखान्वितांश्च।
ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश।
हे
हे
कृष्ण
कृष्ण करुणा
करुणासिन्धो
सिन्धो
दीनबन्धो
दीनबन्धो
जगत्पते
जगत्पते
गोपेश
गोपेश
गोपिकान्त
गोपिकान्त
राधाकान्त
राधाकान्त
नमोऽस्तुते।
नमोऽस्तुते।
तप्त
तप्त
काञ्चन
काञ्चन
गौराङ्गी
गौराङ्गी
राधे
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 वृन्दावनेश्वरी
वृन्दावनेश्वरी
वृषभानुसुते
वृषभानुसुते
देवी
देवी
प्रणमामि
प्रणमामि
हरिप्रिये।
हरिप्रिये।
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
कृपा
कृपा
सिन्धुभ्य एव
सिन्धुभ्य
च
एव च
पतितानां
पतितानां
पावनेभ्यो
पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
नमो
वे
नमो
नमः।
नमो
नमः।
नमः।
नमो
नमः ॐ
विष्णुपादाय
विष्णुपादाय
पादाय कृष्ण
कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय
कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय
प्रेष्ठाय
भूतले
भूतले
श्रीमते
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 भक्तिवेदान्त
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 स्वामीति
स्वामिनि
स्वामिनिति
नामिने
नामिने।
नामिने।
नमस्ते
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 सरस्वते
सारस्वते
देवी
देवे
गौरवाणी
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 प्रचारिणे
प्रचारिणे
प्रचारिणी
निर्विशेष शून्यवादी
निर्विशेषशून्यवादी
वादी
पाश्चात्य
पाश्चात्य देश
पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे।
तारिणी।
जय
जय
श्री
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 कृष्ण
कृष्ण
चैतन्य
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 प्रभु
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 नित्यानंद
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 श्री
श्री
अद्वैत
अद्वैत
गदाधर
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 श्रीवासादि
वास
श्रीवासादि
आदि
गौरभक्तवृंद।
गौरभक्तवृंद।
हरे
हरे
कृष्ण
हरे
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
हरे
हरे
कृष्ण
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 हरे
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 राम
राम
हरे
हरे
राम
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 राम हरे हरे।
श्री कृष्ण भगवान की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। हरे कृष्ण dear devotees. So welcome back. So today we will continue with our 8th chapter. So last week we did 12th verse, right? This is what we did last week, right? Sarva dvarani sayyamya manorudhi niruddha murdhyadhyayat manapranam astito yoga dharanam. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all the sensual engagement. So the purpose of yoga is to control the senses and closing all the doors of the senses and fixing mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One is established
झोपून घे ना बेटा.
himself in the yoga. So here in this and the next verse, Krishna is explaining in very brief about what will be the destination of a yogi who is following the Ashtanga Yoga process, which he previously already described in the 6th chapter. And here he is basically answering for several questions that Arjuna has asked in the beginning. What is Brahman? What is Adibhuta, Adidaiva, and Adiyajna? And what is karma? And how can one think of Krishna, or what is the destination of person what he thinks at the time of death, prayana kali. And so Krishna he gave answers in the very beginning for all the questions except for the last one. And then this whole chapter, he elaborates on the prayana kale chakatam jnayosi niyatatmavi ya prashnala. So how one can think of you, and what is the destination of person depending on how, in what consciousness he leaves this body. So Krishna initially said that whoever thinks of me at the time of death, he will come to me for sure. And whatever state of mind one has at the time of quitting this body, that state he will attain for sure. Yam yam vapi smaran bhava tyajatyante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. And then he said, then that's why you should always think of me and at the same time perform your prescribed duty. Whatever your duty is assigned to you according to the qualities you have associated with, the gunas, satogun, rajogun, and tamogun, and wherever situation you are into, so perform your prescribed duty, but always think of me. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhaja. So he says that therefore, O Arjuna, you should always think of me and perform your duty. And then he gives how you can think of him. Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram. That you should think of me as the one who is all knowledgeable. Then one who is the controller of everything. Then Aditya Varnam, one who is the most effulgent, like Aditya. So on, he gives several descriptions of how one can think of Krishna. And then in this couple of verses, he is describing about how the yogis can think of him. So in case of yogis, he gives all the kundalini, 7 chakras, how the life air with the practice can be lifted. First he says, Bhruvor Madhya Pranam Avesha Samyak, to the Agya chakra, which is in between the eyebrows. Or then in this here, he says, Murdhnya Dhyayatmana Pranam. You lift it further, and then in that Yoga Dharanam, you should always meditate on me in the heart. Manorudhi Niruddhacha. So let's continue to the next verse. So 13th verse. So he further is continuing to that yoga process. What the impersonalists think, or how do they get, what is their destination at the time of death. So let's recite this verse. Om ittekaksharam brahma.
Om ittekaksharam
Brahma.
Om ittekaksharam brahma.
Om ittekaksharam brahma.
Vyaharan mam anusmaran.
Vyada Brahma Anusmaran.
Vyaharan mam anusmaran.
Vyaharan anusmaran.
Anusmaran.
Yah prayati tyajandeham.
Yah prayati tyajandeham.
Yah prayati tyajandeham.
Yah prajati tyajandeham.
Sayati paramam gatim.
Sayati paramam gatim.
Sayati paramam gatim.
Sayati paramam gatim.
Om ittekaksharam brahma.
Om ittekaksharam brahma.
Vyaharan mam anusmaran.
Vyaharan mam anusmaran.
Yah prayati tyajandeham.
Yah prayati tyajandeham.
Sayati paramam gatim.
Sayati paramam gatim.
Thank you, Prabhu. Jitu Prabhu, you want to lead? Couple.
Om Ittekasharam Brahmam.
Om ittekaksharam brahma.
Vyahara Manusmaram.
Vyaharan mam anusmaran.
Yaha Prayati Tyajya Deham.
Yah prayati tyajandeham
स यान्ति परमागतिम्
Sayati
sayati
paramagatim.
paramam gatim. Rajesh Prabhu, you want to?
अनन्तरम्
Yes.
ओमित्येकाक्षरं ब्रह्म
Om
Om
Ekakaksharam
Tekaksharam
Brahma
Brahma
व्याहरन् माम् अनुस्मरन्
Vyaharan
Vyaharanmanusmaran
स्मरम्
यः प्रयाति त्यजन् देहम्
Yah
Yah
यः प्रयाति
Prayati
त्यजेय देहम्
स याति परमां गतिम्
स
Sayati
याति
paramam
परमां
gatim.
गतिम्
Thank you very much, Rajesh Prabhu. So,
Hare
word for
Krishna.
word meaning. Om is the combination of letters Om or Omkar. Iti means thus. Ek aksharam means the one syllable. Brahma means the absolute. Vyaharan means vibrating or chanting. Mam means me, that is Krishna is saying so. Krishna. Anusmaran, remembering. Ya means anyone who. Prayati means leaves. Tyajan means quitting. Deham means this body. Sa means he. Yati means achieves. Paramam means the supreme. And Gatim means destination. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So, translation. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the supreme personality of Godhead, that is Krishna, and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets, the Paramam Gatim. He will achieve the final destination. So here, Lord Krishna is saying further that one who utters the word Omkara at the time of death, but how? Not just Omkara, at the same time, Vyaharan Mam Anusmaran, and also thinking of me, that is Krishna. So after the yogi, after all this practice, when he, at the time of quitting this body, when he utters the Omkara and thinks of Krishna, Sayati Paramam Gati. So when he is leaving this body, he will attain the spiritual planets. He will attain the final destination. But this is for the yogis, what he is describing. So let's read the purport, short purport here. Chandrakant Prabhu, you want to read?
Oh. It is clearly stated here that Om, Brahman, and Lord Krishna are not different. The impersonal sound of Krishna is Om, but the sound Hare Krishna contains Om. The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is clearly recommended for this age. So if one quits his body at the end of life chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, he certainly reaches one of the spiritual planets according to the mode of his practice. The devotee of Krishna enter the Krishna planet, Goloka Vrindavana. For the personalities, there are also innumerable other planets known as Vaikuntha planet in the spiritual sky, whereas the impersonalists remain in the Brahma Jyotir.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. So here, Prabhupada clearly mentions that when, particularly for this age of Kali Yuga, when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that is the mantra that is given in various scriptures, so then people may ask, what about Omkara then? Because Om, even here it is clearly mentioned that Om is the supreme combination of letters, A-U-M. So Om is the sound representation of Krishna. So the person who are impersonalist, who don't believe that the Supreme Lord is a person or he has a spiritual form, they are more inclined towards Omkara or the non-impersonal form, basically, that we talked about this earlier also. There are many other people who follow so-called other religious faiths, they think that God has no form, so they don't accept the deity worship, and that's why they kind of what do you say? They say that it is for the less intelligent people, and that's why it is. What is the word I'm looking for? They say that idol worship or something. Those terms, those are given to. They are tossed by the Britishers. Idol worship, which unfortunately we also from the Vedic culture people, we took that and we call our deities as idol. But idol and deity is different. So one thing, the difference I learned after reading Vedic literature, and particularly after hearing Prabhupada several times, that we do not refer our deities or murti as idol. Idol can be of anybody, any person, but deity is only of a worshipable deity. So that's why we call deity worship and not idol worship. Deity is murti, and murti is non-different from that person. So, and there are several examples are given in the scriptures, as well as Prabhupada particularly narrates one story of Sakshi Gopal, where the Krishnamurti himself walked with his devotee behind him to give witness of what he was saying is truth, from the region of Vrindavan towards Jagannath Puri. And that outside the outskirts of Jagannath Puri, there is a temple called Sakshi Gopal temple. So that is the deity that walked with the devotee, Brahman devotee, young Brahman devotee. And so the person who is worshipping the personal form, he doesn't take that deity as different than Krishna. So that's why if you see, there are people who talk to deities, they share their thoughts with deities, they reciprocate with the deities just like they reciprocate with any other person that they know of, and in the different bhavas, as a friend, as a child, as a mother, father, in different whatever bhav they have, in that they reciprocate with that deity. There are it is said that in the old days there were temples. People will come, sit in front of deity, and they'll tell how their day went by to the deity, and then they leave. So it is their duty. They will just come to the temple to tell the deity what happened all day, and then they'll leave. So they never thought that that deity is only stone or wood or some other material. They took the deity as the deity, the form itself as Krishna. And that's what in reality is, because Krishna is being absolute. He is non-different from his name, form, and other paraphernalia. But for the impersonalist who take Omkar as the supreme, and then they concentrate on that and meditate on that, so for them, their destination, the highest destination they can attain is the Brahma Jyoti. Brahma Jyoti is the effulgence of the Supreme Lord. So they don't get entry in the spiritual planets, but they remain outskirts of the spiritual planets in the form of Brahma Jyoti. And the example Prabhupada gives, and in other literature it is given, just like sun and sun rays. So sun is the planet what we know of, the sun globe, and sun rays are outside the sun, but they are also may be considered as sun because they have no existence without sun, and there is no sun without sun rays. So the impersonalist liberation is just like merging in the sun rays. So they get in the spiritual energy, they merge into the spiritual energy of the Lord, but they don't get entry into the spiritual planets, those known as Vaikuntha planets. And there are different planets in the spiritual sky. There are description given in Srimad Bhagavatam and other literatures, and there are unlimited of those. But the supreme planet in the spiritual world is called Goloka Vrindavan. And that's where Krishna is always performing his leelas, his pastimes, with his eternal associates. So that is the Golok or Vrindavan, and the person who is in the bhav of Vrindavan Leela, those go to the Golok or Vrindavan. If somebody is in the bhav of worshipping Ram, then there is separate Vaikuntha planet known as Ayodhya. So they go to the planet called Ayodhya Nagari. And the cities what we know here, Vrindavan, Dwarka and Ayodhya, etc., they are kind of replicas of those planets, or Prabhupada explains it really nicely. Those are like the, what do you call it, embassies of those planets in the material world. Just like America would have some place in different countries that is either consulate or embassy. So whatever in that area that doesn't come under the law or jurisdiction of that country, it actually follows the rules and regulations of America. And particularly internationally, when you are traveling, Chandrakant Prabhu, you may have noticed, when you travel from you flew Qatar, right? So in Doha, when you transit, when you are coming to the US, when you go to the gate where the flight that take off for any destination in the USA, that area is protected. Once you enter in that, you are technically in America. Have you noticed that, Chandrakant Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, on all airports, no, just before final destination USA, right?
If it is USA,
included area.
Yes.
Protected area where
that is completely protected area.
Yeah.
So that area actually comes under the jurisdiction of USA.
Yeah.
Even though it is situated in different country, but that area is under jurisdiction of America. In the same manner, these places, Vrindavan, Mathura, Jagannath Puri, Dwarka, these are in the same way dham, these are the consulates. So they are actually the spiritual places. But one who is in that bhav, only they can realize or they can see that Vrindavan there or Mathura there or Ayodhya there or Dwarka there. One who is trying to see there for a material perspective, they will see just all some dirt road there and construction and all this land and other things and monkeys, other things. So the impersonalists, they merge into the Brahma Jyoti, but because they don't have a final destination and they have not developed love for Krishna's service, they have to fall down again from those positions. And this is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, actually, 10th canto, 2nd chapter, 32nd verse, where Brahmaji and all the devatas, when they are offering prayers to Lord Shri Krishna, who is in the womb of Devaki, they all come to Mathura and then they offer prayers. And that's where Brahmaji says that Yannera Vindaksha Vimukta Manina Stvayasta Bhavad Avishuddha Buddhaya Aruyya Kruchena Param Padam Tata Patanti Ada Anadrita Jushmadangraya. Ye Anne Aravindaksha Vimukta Manina. One who has no love for Aravindaksha, one who is lotus-eyed Krishna, oh Lord Krishna, but they think themselves as Vimukta Manina. And Tvai Asta Bhavat Avishuddha Buddhaya. And they are not, so that's why they are not completely cleansed. What happens to that? Aruyya Kruchena Param Padam Tata, because they won't attain the Param Pada, but Patanti Adha, they fall down. त्यांचं पतन होतं परत मटेरियल वर्ल्ड मध्ये. Why? Because anadrita jushmadangraya, because they have not served or attained the loving devotional service towards your lotus feet. Jushmat means couple, angra means feet. So to your feet, they don't have developed love. So all these impersonalists, even though they may get liberation from this material entanglement, but because they don't have bliss, and they have not developed the devotion or bhakti for Krishna, they have to fall down again in this material world. So, but So the destination of yogi is the same thing. He attains the spiritual planets, but he, by following the yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om and thinking of me, that is also the key factor. Mam, what does he say? Ma Manusmaran. So in this chapter, you will see this Ma Manusmaran repeatedly. Always think of me. And particularly at the time of quitting this body. So that's what this general verse says, and the purport is Prabhuji's. So any reflections or thoughts or any questions? Hare Krishna Bapa Prabhu, Hare Krishna Sunil Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
हरे
Prabhuji.
कृष्ण राधा-रंजन दास प्रभु, चंद्रकांत प्रभु, बापू प्रभु, हरे कृष्ण. हरे कृष्ण जितेंद्र राजेश प्रभु.
Hari Bol Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
So
Hare Krishna.
any thoughts Prabhuji on this, or is it?
I think this is miss. If you ask me, this is miss similar things we already gone through, but addition is that one Omkara,
Mhm.
right? That is the first time I think got introduced here, the syllable, right?
Mhm.
And how it is same like chanting Hare Krishna and the Om basically, right?
Mhm. So we don't have to
That's
separately chant Om if we are already chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra.
Yeah, yeah. So you're talking about that idol and deity, right?
Mhm.
So most of the time we keep saying that आता म्हणजे गणपती जरी बसवायची झालं तर गणपतीची मूर्ती घ्या, गणपती आयडल असं म्हणतो आपण, राईट?
Mhm.
We never refer to it as a deity.
Mhm.
आयडलच म्हणतो ते का, म्हणजे आय स्टील लिटल कन्फ्युज ओव्हर दॅट.
So idol is demeaning that murti, because when we say murti, murti is that deity personally comes to us. तर आपण म्हणतो ना गणपती बाप्पा आले आपल्या घरात, विराजमान झाले. So we are not saying, oh, I just brought some idol of Ganpati and said, no, that murti and the person are non-different. And that is what Vedic culture teaches us. But because the Britishers did not know about this, they thought that they are just bringing some idol of that person. So that's so idol and deity, the difference is deity, in that deity, we see that person himself, and idol can be of any other person. एखाद्या माणसाचा पुतळा जरी उभा केला तरी त्याला it's kind of idol. So that's the difference. So it's kind of demeaning that deity. So technically we should not say idol worship, it is deity worship.
देव पूजा rather than मूर्ती पूजा.
Yeah. नाही, मूर्ती is correct word. मूर्ती पण देवाची, पण मूर्ती is स्वतः भगवान आहे त्यात असं.
हा बरोबर. पण आयडल म्हणजे मूर्ती आपण म्हणतो, राईट? त्याच्यामुळे मराठी अर्थ
तो अर्थ तसा झालाय. डीटी म्हणजे मूर्ती ऍक्च्युअली.
ओके, ठीक आहे, धन्यवाद.
So if there are no more thoughts, we can continue. The next verse is actually very important and one of the very important verses, and it has a little bit longer purport. It's 10:13, so it might take a little longer. Okay, let's recite this verse and discuss. So this is very beautiful verse, one of the mostly quoted verse by Prabhupada also, and it is, when we learn this, you will find out why it is very nice, beautiful verse. Okay, so let's recite. Ananya cheta satatam.
Ananya cheta satatam.
Yo mam smarati nityashaha.
Yo mam smarati nityasha.
Tasyaham sulabha partha.
Tasyaham sulabha partha.
Nityayuktasya yoginaha.
Nityayuktasya yogina.
Ananyacheta satatam.
Ananyacheta satatam.
Yo mam smarati nityashaha.
Yo mam smrati nityasha.
Tasyaham sulabha partha
Tasya am sulabha partha.
nitya yuktasya yoginaha.
Nitya yuktasya yoginah.
Okay, we'll take a couple of recitations. How about Bapo Prabhu? You want to recite?
Okay. Ananyacheta satatam
Ananya cheta satatam.
yo ma smarati nityasha
Yo mam smrati nityasha.
tasyaha sulabham partha
Tasya am sulabha partha.
nityayuktasya yogina.
Nitya yuktasya yoginah.
Thank you, Bapo Prabhu. Sunil Prabhu.
अनन्यचेता सतत
Ananya cheta satatam.
यो मां स्मरति नित्यशः
Yo mam smrati nityasha.
तस्याहं सुलभ पार्थ
Tasya sulabha partha.
नित्ययुक्तस्य योगिनम्
Nitya yuktasya yoginah.
Thank you, Prabhu. So, word for word translation. Ananya Cheta. Ananya means not anything else. Cheta means mind. So, without deviation of the mind. Satatam means always. Ya means anyone who. Mam means me. Again, here, because Krishna is saying it is Krishna. Smrati means remembers. Nitya Shaha means regularly. Tasya means to that person who is doing this, who is always thinking of Krishna. To him, Aham means I am, that is Krishna saying, so Krishna. Sulabha means very easy to achieve. Partha means O son of Pratha, so this is Arjun. Nitya means regularly. Yuktasya means engaged. Yoginaha means for the devotee. Translation. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain. O son of Pratha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. So if you notice here, there are some keywords here. Everything is keyword actually. But there is something repeated, same meaning 3 times. If you see, Satatam means always, Nityashaha means also always, and Nitya means also always. So there is so much emphasis given on doing this always, not only for like 5 minutes in a day or once in a year on certain occasion or certain once in a month or once in week or something like that. No, it is always. Even, and this is the word we have repeatedly seen in this chapter, even in the beginning when Krishna says that Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu, all the time, Sarveshu Kaleshu, Mam Anusmara Yuddhacha. Or here also he is saying, Ananyacheta Satatam, Yo Mam Smarati Nityasha, Tasya Aham Sulabha Partha, whom Nitya Yukta, one who is always engaged in devotional service. So, Ananya, and Ananya is the one important word. Ananya means not, there is no other thought than in the mind you are always, without deviation, you are always thinking of Krishna. Whatever you are doing, you are performing your duty honestly or sincerely, but Ananya Cheta Satatam. So, Ananya word is also, you will see several times in BhagavadGita. So, this is important here. So when one does this, Ananya Cheta, when without deviating any mind, his chitta is not deviated by anything else, Satatam, always, yo, whoever that person is, Mam Smarati Nityasha. Krishna is saying, whoever thinks of me all the time. What happens? For him, I am very easy to obtain. So he gives, this is, for that person, the process is very simple. He can attain me very easily. Why? Because Nitya Yukta, he is always engaged in my bhakti. Nitya Yuktasya Yogina. Always, Nitya. So this is very beautiful verse, and in other places, Krishna explains that how difficult it is to obtain him, or what different many qualifications are required and everything. But here in this verse, he is saying that Sulabha, I am easy to obtain, very easy. But for whom? One who is always think of me all the time without deviation and engages always in my devotion. Nitya Yuktasya Yogina. Okay, so this is little bit longer purport. So why don't we have like 3 persons read this? So let's start with wants to read. Rajesh Antaraman Prabhu, you want to read the first paragraph?
No problem. This verse especially describes the final destination attained by the unalloyed devotees who serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Bhakti Yoga. Previous verses have mentioned 4 different kinds of devotees: the distressed, the inquisitive, those who seek material gain, and the speculative philosophers. Different processes of liberation have also been described: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Hatha Yoga. The principles of these yoga systems have some bhakti added, but this verse particularly mentions pure bhakti yoga without any mixture of jnana, karma, or hatha, as indicated by the word ananya cheta. In pure bhakti yoga, the devotee desires nothing but Krishna. A pure devotee does not desire promotion to heavenly planets, nor does he seek oneness with the Brahma Jyotir or salvation or liberation from material entanglement. A pure devotee does not desire anything. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the pure devotee is called Nishkama, which means he has no desire for self-interest. Perfect peace belongs to him alone, not to them who strive for personal gain. Whereas a Jnana Yogi, Karma Yogi, or Hatha Yogi has his own selfish interests. A perfect devotee has no desire other than to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Lord says that for anyone who is unflinchingly devoted to him, he is easy to attain.
Easy to attain. Thank you very much. So let's.
Hare Krishna.
So here, I think Prabhupada explains here in the previous verses, the liberation seeking devotee is explained because he is seeking liberation. He emerges in the Brahma Jyoti. And Prabhupada quotes, there are few verses Prabhupada actually mentions, refers to here. The different. So in the 4 kinds of devotees. So we learned about this in the 7th chapter, right? Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukritono arjuna artha jignasu artharthi jnani cha bharatarshava. In the 7th chapter, 16th verse or so, Krishna explains that 4 types of people, pious people, do my bhakti. And what are those? Artha means distress, jignasu or inquisitive, then artharthi, somebody who is seeking for wealth or some material gain, and jnani, the speculative philosophers. But bhakta is all about those. And that's why this particular verse is particularly for a complete bhakti yoga. And that's why all the other yoga processes, jnana yoga, karma yoga, hatha yoga, if they don't culminate, if they don't go towards bhakti, then they are considered as incomplete. Because bhakti yoga includes all these. It is all inclusive. And here, one more verse I was thinking of. A pure devotee does not desire anything. A pure devotee does not desire anything else. So, a definition in the Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he gives the definition of a pure bhakti or the symptoms of pure bhakti. And in this, in the first chapter, 1.1.11, he gives very beautiful verse. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhanavrutam anukulena krishnanushilanam bhaktir uttamaha. So that is uttama bhakti. The definition of uttama bhakti is what? Anya abhilashita shunyam. So he doesn't have any other desire, any other abhilasha. Anya abhilashita shunyam. Jnana karmad anavrutam. And it is free from all the contamination of jnana and karma. Jnana, because Jnani is seeking for some philosophical speculative knowledge, and Karmi is always seeking for some material gain or something that he wants to do through his material senses, other than not engaging necessarily completely for Krishna's service. Jnana karmadhanautam anukulena Krishna anushilanam, and he is always working favorably, he is always thinking anushilanam favorably for Krishna, anukulena, because there are persons who got liberation just because they were thinking of Krishna, like Kamsa or the other, all the what we call demons. So all the asuras and rakshasas who were killed by Krishna because they were constantly thinking of Krishna. So what he said that Yomam Smarati Nityasha, whoever is thinking of me, he gets liberation. But what type of liberation they get? They get to the Brahma Jyoti. They are liberated from the material entanglement because they are always thinking of Krishna. But that is not Anukulena, that is Pratikula. Because they were not thinking of Krishna in favorably. They were thinking in unfavorably because they were always thinking of killing Krishna, or they were angry. They had animosity towards Krishna. That's why a Uttama Bhakti is Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadhanautan Anukulena Krishnanushilanam Bhaktir Uttamaha. So that is Uttama Bhakti definition Srila Rupa Goswami gives in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So that is one I wanted to mention before we move on to the next. So therefore the Lord says that anyone who is unflinchingly devoted to him, he is very easy to obtain. Tasyaham Sulabha Partha. Okay. Bapu Prabhu, you want to read the next two paragraphs? And then the last paragraph will have someone.
From here, right? The special.
No, from the pure devotee.
1 second.
A pure devotee.
Okay. A pure devotee always engages in devotional service to Krishna in one of his various personal features. Krishna has various plenary expansions and incarnations such as Rama and Narasimha, and devotee can choose to fix his mind in loving service to any of these transcendental forms of the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee meets with none of the problems that
Plague
the practitioners of other yogas. Bhakti yoga is very simple and pure and easy to perform. One can begin simply by chanting Hare Krishna. The Lord is merciful to all, but as we have already explained, He is especially inclined toward those who always serve Him without deviation. The Lord helps such devotees in various ways. As stated in the Vedas, Katha Upanishad 1.3.23, Yama Evasya
Vaishavrute Tena Labhyas
पुढचं बोला ना साहेब.
Tasesha Atma Vibrunate Tanum Swam.
One who is fully surrendered and engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord can understand the Supreme Lord as He is, and as stated in BhagavadGita 10.10, Dadami Buddhai Yogam Tam. The Lord gives such a devotee sufficient intelligence so that ultimately the devotee can attain Him in His spiritual kingdom. The special qualification of the pure devotee is that he is always thinking of Krishna without deviation and without 1 second. Without considering the time or place. There should be no impediments. He should be able to carry out his service anywhere and at any time. Some say that the devotee should remain in holy places like actually mobile or no difficult or some holy town where the Lord lived. But a pure devotee can live anywhere and create the atmosphere of Vrindavana by his devotional service. It has Sri Advaita who told Lord Chaitanya, wherever you are, O Lord, there is Vrindavan.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prabhu. So here also, so there are few verses. Prabhupada all quotes from Shastra here. He's writing. A pure devotee engages in devotional service of Krishna in various forms. So that because Krishna is unlimited and there are unlimited living entities, their reciprocation with Krishna is also in unlimited rasas, different rasas. So somebody may worship Krishna in Narsimha form or Rama form or Vaman form or some other form in different, or somebody who doesn't want to worship Krishna, they will worship some other devata who is representative of Krishna. Or if we don't worship Krishna or any devata, then we are under control of Maya and we will worship Maya. But everybody directly or indirectly serving the Lord. So that's why devotional service is directly engaging in his service in the Vishnu form. And then here he mentions that there are many plenary expansions of Krishna. Rama Adimurti Shukla Niyamena Tishthan, as Brahma Samhita says, Rama Adimurti, Rama Narsimha. There are many forms that incarnations Krishna has. And devotee can choose any of them and then they can fix his mind in that particular form. And that's why such devotee has no other problems. Does that mean that his material problems are over? No. The material problems can come, but he will not feel those as problems, the intensity, or he will accept those as mercy of Krishna. And he will not be distressed by the problems that he may get. And then the devotee is always engaged in Krishna's service. And here Prabhupada quotes that the verse 10.10 from Bhagavad Gita, the 10th chapter, that whoever engaged in Krishna's loving service, he says that Dadami Buddha Yogam Tam Yena Mam Upayantite, that I give him the intelligence so that he comes to me. So for this devotee, the intelligence Krishna gives, because he's in our heart as Paramatma and he knows what we are thinking. And when we sincerely think how I can serve him, when we develop bhakti for him, he is the one who always gives us intelligence how we can serve him. And then he gives us intelligence how we can get freed from this all material entanglement. And then generally people think that, oh, I have to live in Vrindavan or some Dhama. That is also recommended. But when a devotee has intense bhakti for Krishna, then wherever he lives, that's where he can create Vrindavan, or because he's always living in Dhama. And the best example we can think of is Srila Prabhupada. He actually was living in Radhā-Damodar temple in Vrindavan at the very late age in his life. He could have just said, oh, I am very happy here and I am living my life, I am engaged in devotional service and I am all set for my spiritual path. I am going to go to Krishna from here. But no, just because his spiritual master has ordered him or told him that you should give this knowledge of Krishna consciousness, you should give this knowledge of Vedic literature in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and all the Vedic literature to the English speaking world. He took a lot of trouble and came to this world in America, where he said, there cannot be worse place than America because nobody even thinks of Krishna here. How am I going to tell them what about Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and Krishna? And all these four regulative principles, the four root causes of sinful life, as Shriya Suna Panam Dyutam. This is very common here in America. Meat eating, gambling, having affairs between boys and girls without marriage, and then drinking. All these are very common here. They are like social etiquettes here. And these, according to Vedic literature, these are the root causes of all the sins. So how am I going to stop them? So he prayed to Krishna that you have brought me here because you may have some purpose. Now make me dance on whatever way you want to dance. And in that trip, when he came to the US in the ship named Jaladuta, in 45 days he was riding that. In that journey, he got a couple of heart attacks. Somebody may have just said, "Oh, I am done. I have to go home, go to hospital, take a rest, and I'll spend my life in Vrindavan." But no, he came here. He had no money. He didn't know what he was going to do. But still, he came to US to spread this knowledge of Krishna. That is called compassion. Giving this knowledge because you are so much convinced that this is the highest goal of every living entity, and I should give this knowledge to all these people because they don't even know that they are suffering. They don't even know that they are rotting in this material world. So that is compassion. So that's why he came here, and so he was Dham personified. So wherever he went, he created Dham. And that's why worldwide, there is not a single country in this world where there is no presence of ISKCON in some or the other way. So that is what compassion is. So even though some say that the devotee should remain in holy places of Vrindavan, but a pure devotee can live anywhere and create that atmosphere of Vrindavan by his devotional service. Because he is so pure that he can create that atmosphere any part of the world. And it doesn't matter where he lives, because the pure devotee is never thinking of anything for himself. And this is actually Lord Shiva and Sati when they were sitting on Kailash, and Chitraketu, Maharaj Chitraketu was traveling and he laughed at them. And Mother Sati cursed him. But Chitraketu was great devotee of Lord Krishna. So he offered his obeisances to Mother Sati. He accepted that as mercy. So Mother Sati was very, very surprised. I cursed him to become a demon, but he's still very calm and he accepted my curse as blessing. Why is it so? And then Lord Shiva explains to her in the very beautiful word that Narayana para sarve na kutaschana bibbhati swarga pavarga narkeshu apitulyartha darshina. That Narayana para, the devotees, the great devotees of Narayana, they are never disturbed by anything what they get. Na kutaschana bibbhati, they are never disturbed by whatever they get. They may get, from material point of view, it may be good or bad, but for them everything is same. And for them swarga, apavarga means liberation, or narak, everything is same. Because wherever they go, they just spread glories of Krishna. So it doesn't matter. Swarga, pavarga, narakeshu, api tulyartha darshina. For them, everything is equal. So that's why pure devotee can live anywhere and then they can create Vrindavan everywhere. So the last paragraph, Sunil Prabhu, do you want to read the paragraph?
As indicated, Pasun,
Yes.
as indicated by the word Sanatan,
Satatam.
Satatam, and Nityasha, which means always, regularly, or every day. A pure devotee constantly remembers Krishna and meditates upon him. These are qualifications of the pure devotee for whom the Lord is most easily attainable. Bhakti Yoga is the system that the Gita recommends above all others. Generally, the Bhakti Yogis are engaged in 5 different ways. 1.
Shanta.
Sant Bhakta.
Shanta.
Engaged. Sant.
Shanta.
Engaged.
Peaceful mantra.
Shanta. Engaged in devotional service in neutrality. Dasya Bhakta, engaged in devotional service as servant. Sakhya Bhakta, engaged as a friend. Vatsalya Bhakta, engaged as parent. And Madhurya Bhakta, engaged as conjugal lover of the Supreme Lord. In any of these ways, the pure devotee is always constantly engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord and cannot forget the Supreme Lord. And so for him, the Lord is easily attained. A pure devotee cannot forget the Supreme Lord for a moment. And similarly, the Supreme Lord cannot forget his pure devotee for a moment. This is the great blessing of the Krishna conscious process of chanting the Mahamantra Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. So very beautiful here. So again, Prabhupada repeats here that Satatam Nityasha Nitya. This means always and constantly. So one who meditates constantly on Krishna, for him, it is easy to obtain. And then he gives five primary rasas of the bhakti. So Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya ras. And these are in that order, and the next one includes the previous, all of them. So Shantaras is in the devotion of neutrality. He doesn't have too much affection for Krishna, so he's just worshipping in awe and reverence that, oh, Krishna is great, he has so much effulgence, he's so much powerful, or he is full of all the opulences, and that's why I should worship him. So that is the Shantaras, Shanta Bhakta. So any devotee who is regularly going to temple and is convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Lord and he is the maintainer of everything, that is Shanta Bhakta. And then the Dasya Bhakta is the example that several times is given is Hanumanji, who engages everything of him in the service of the Lord. Then Sakhya Bhakta is the best example is we are reading about Arjuna and Krishna. Arjuna is in the 4th chapter. Krishna says that I am giving you this knowledge because bhaktosi me sakha chaiti. You are my devotee and you are also my friend, sakha. So Arjun has devotion with Krishna as a friend. So in sakha, he also has a service attitude as so Dasya and Shanta is already included. So in the next level, Vatsalya ras, or the parental love, where a devotee wants to serve Lord as a child. Because in many other religious principles, generally, God is accepted as father. But in the Vaishnava tradition, God is accepted as child, and that is considered as a higher level of devotion than accepting him as a father. Because when the tendency in general is we are always asking something from father. Father, may give me this, give me this, give me this. But there is less attitude towards serving the father. Even though there is, but it is less. But on the other side, for a child, we are always serving. We don't ask more something from child. We are rather more loving towards a child. And we can see this Yashoda Mata or Nanda Maharaj. They are always serving Krishna. Yashoda Mata is always making butter for him, or she's always also anxious for him. When Krishna kills Putana, she thinks that, oh, something must have happened. Balala drushta lagli asal. So that love is much more than love for father. And that's why Vatsalya Bhakta is higher than the previous three. And in Vatsalya, he's also friend. He's also always serving as Dasya, and he's always thinking of him. So Vatsalya includes everything. But higher than that, the highest rasa is Madhurya rasa, where in the conjugal love, all of them are included. You also take care of him, you serve him, and then you have a loving relationship with him, conjugal lover. So for a lover, you are always thinking of him intensely. And that's why the gopis and Radharani particularly, who is the chief of the gopis, they are considered the highest devotees of Lord Shri Krishna. So that's why he is also referred as Gopi Bhartu, who is the maintainer of gopis. And actually, even in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is very beautiful pastime about the gopis and Krishna after last Leela. And Krishna mentions them that even though he is Supreme Lord, he doesn't need anything. But he says that, oh gopis, for your love and devotion for me, I cannot pay it back because I don't have anything that I can give you in return. So just be happy with your love and devotion for me. Imagine Bhagavan himself is telling that, oh, I cannot return anything. I cannot do anything for you because your love and devotion is such a great that you don't want anything. You are eternally, you give up everything for my love and service. Because they gave up all the so-called social etiquettes and everything, and they would go and serve Krishna wherever he wants. So that's what the highest level of devotion is. And that is the Madhurya Bhakti or Madhurya Rasa. And when one has this type of intense love for Krishna, then that pure devotee cannot forget Krishna at any moment. Never. And that is considered as Krishna Bhakti. That is the real Bhakti of Krishna. And this type of Bhakti can be attained just by the simple process of chanting, because chanting or japa cleanses our heart. Cheto darpanam arjanam bhava maha davagni nirvapanam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the very first verse of Shikshataka that when Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, this kirtan or chanting of holy name of Krishna cleanses our heart, which we have accumulated so much dirt in the form of lust, greed, anger, mad, matsarya, pride and everything. This is so much dirt we have accumulated on the mirror of our heart. But when we sincerely chant and offenselessly chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra or his name, that cleanses our heart, that purifies us. And then with the pure heart, we can start seeing things as they are. Just like if there is a dirt on the mirror, we may not be able to see our reflection clearly. But if we clean the mirror completely, then we can see exactly what we are looking for. We can see the perfect reflection in the mirror. The same manner, our mirror of the heart, Cheto Darpana. As long as we have all these contamination colors on our heart, we will see the world through those colors, and we will see the world as the place where either it is for enjoyment, it is bad, it is good, it is whatever it is. We won't see as it is energy of Krishna. And then the more and more our heart gets cleansed, the more and more our vision gets clear about everything, and we start understanding and seeing things as they are. That is the sublime nature of this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then, so going back to today's verse again, so one who thinks of Krishna all the time, undeviated mind, Satatam, always, Smarati Nityasha, for him Krishna says that Tasya Aham Sulabha, I am very easy to obtain. He can be obtained very easily. And we can see this from this so many saints we have in Maharashtra also or everywhere. For them it was very easy process. They were always thinking of Krishna, Panduranga, Vitthala, Narayana, all these saints. For them, they didn't care what other was thinking of him. They didn't care of what is happening. They were doing their duty to the best of their ability and always thinking of Vitthala, Panduranga, Narayana, Krishna. Because they were always Nitya Yukta. So let me stop here and we can get some reflections and thoughts. So any thoughts, Prabhuji? This is very, one of the very beautiful verses I thought in BhagavadGita. Everything is beautiful. because these are words spoken by God himself. But where he says that, oh, I am easy to obtain, what else can be more nicer? Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, no specific reflection as such, but here God is giving confidence to the bhaktas that I am very easy to opt in, kind of.
Mhm.
Right? That's what only I my take from this.
Very true.
की तुम्ही बाकी काही करू नका, फक्त मला अटेंड करायचं असेल तर इट विल बी व्हेरी इझी प्रोसेस
And he gives the process also.
या ते म्हणलं कॉन्फिडन्स बिल्डिंग जे म्हणतो आपण
Mhm.
ते करण्याचा प्रयत्न आहे.
कारण आधी बऱ्याचदा आपला विषय निघाला, अरे हे खूप डिफिकल्ट आहे, एवढी योगी पण नाही मिळवू शकत, यांना पण हे होतं, जन्म मिलियन्स ऑफ बर्थ यू हॅव टू टेक. नो, बट हिअर ही गिव्स द प्रोसेस. ओ, इफ यू डू दिस, आय एम व्हेरी इझी टू ऑब्टेन. Yes, Prabhuji, any more reflections? Does it make sense? It is all, and the more and more, actually for me, the more and more I started reading BhagavadGita, I never thought this would be in BhagavadGita. Because for us, BhagavadGita was कर्म करो और फल की चिंता न करो. याच्या पलीकडे भगवद्गीता माहितीच नव्हती. But this is such beautiful verses. This is all in black and white, given by Krishna himself. So, should we stop here, Prabhuji? Any reflections, thoughts?
So, Prabhuji, when it is said that you don't have to go to any holy places, you can create holy place as your own with your bhakti. That is a really good part. It's take up for me, because sometimes it becomes practically difficult to visit the places. So that is a good thing I liked and take away for me.
Yeah, but it is recommended for devotees like us who are still growing in our spiritual practice. We should go to holy places. Prabhupada, if you see, Prabhupada spent most of his time in Vrindavan. But he says that, but it is said here that for pure devotees who don't think of anything else than God, for them, wherever though they go, they create dham. For them, they don't have to go to. So, yeah, we should not find this as an excuse not going to holy places.
Okay.
Yeah, so for a pure devotee who is always thinking of Krishna, for them it is, yeah, they can create, and we can see wherever Prabhupada went, he created 108 temples in like 12 years, and thousands, tens of thousands of devotees all over the world, and he's still creating.
Yes.
He's still creating, and actually the day after Janmashtami is his appearance day, and we celebrated that day, and there are devotees who gave such a nice offering to Prabhupada. And that's true, actually. There are many of them, they cried, because if had not it been Prabhupada, I personally think that I would not have gotten this knowledge, what I'm reading today, or the little bit understanding whatever I have of Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, or the taste what I have developed reading these scriptures. I would not have gotten this. It is all because of Srila Prabhupada. We are together here reading this Bhagavad Gita. So, I am eternally indebted to him. I don't know how I am going to pay his debt ever. Because of him, I came to know that Krishna is God. Otherwise, I was lost like any confused Hindu. Oh, there we have like many devatas and anybody worship and everything is same. And
Yes.
It's not that he just told, he gave references. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself said there are Vedic literature, scriptures, everything say the same thing. So I was like any confused Hindu, just boasting myself as, oh, I am a proud Hindu. Garv se kaho hum Hindu hai. But I don't know what Hindu hai. So it is because of him I have this understanding. And again, there is no, he never said that, oh, only Hindus have this knowledge. This is for the whole humanity. So, yeah, so for that kind of pure devotee, wherever he goes, he created
Yes.
dham. But for us, it is recommended we should go to dham as and when time, because those are purifying. But how should
Yes.
we go to dham? Not just to go and take bath in some river or anything and take some pictures with us and then come back. No, we should associate with the sadhus, understand the purpose of going for them, understand what leela are performed there by Krishna or his devotees, or why that is dham. And then learn from it and try to implement that in our knowledge. So wherever, particularly wherever we go to the dham, we should meet sadhus and hear from them. So yeah. But thank you. Yeah, that was a good point. But I just wanted to make sure that we should not take that as an excuse to not go to dham.
Yes,
True.
yes, Prabhu.
In fact, if you will see, most of the Hindus actually do that. I mean, I shouldn't be saying this, but most of the approach is गंगा स्नान करके आए तो पाप के लिए your next window is open. अभी कुछ भी करो, which is a wrong way.
And that is in general tendency, because we are so corrupt in this mind. Our mind is so corrupt. That is also in churches. We see that, right? Her
Yes.
Sunday, every Sunday you go ask for forgiveness. What is that called? Confession. And then once I do my confession, now I am pure. I can do more pap. So
Whatever I want.
next, yeah. So come back again, do the same thing, same blunder. Again, go on Sunday. Father, please forgive me. I am confessing. This is what I have done. So Prabhupada chastised all Christians because of that. He said that is not the way you worship. This is because if you are not purifying yourself, you will end up doing sin again and again. And if you think that, oh, that there is a trash bag there and I can just go and put all my trash there, it's not the right way. So we should get purified so that, yes, understanding that I have done something wrong is good. But when you confess and when you come back, it is expected that you do not do that again.
Ever. True.
Some accidental mistake or some accidental fall down, yes, it happens. It happens in the greatest devotee's life also. But accepting that and confessing that, and then that purification happens when you follow this path of bhakti. Actually, Prahlad Maharaj has a very beautiful verse that he says that yasyasti bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunair tatra samasate sura hara abhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathena asato dhavato bahi. He says in the 5th canto that yasya asti bhakti bhagavati akinchana, whoever has bhakti for Bhagwan akinchana, just like we read the word ananya cheta, akinchana bhakti, that full conviction that, oh, I am devotee of Krishna, Krishna is my Lord, I am his servant, and there is nothing else. I am living because of his will. Akinchana bhakti. Sarvair gunair tatra samasate sura. In his all the Devata's qualities, Sura's qualities develop. All the godly qualities develop in the bhakta, in the devotee of the Lord. Harav abhaktasya kuto mat guna. But one who is not bhakta, abhakta of Hari, what is good guna in him? Because why? Manorathena sato dhavato vai. Because he is always making some mental plans, how I will enjoy, how I will get rid of this person because he is my enemy, how I will build empire here, how I will do this thing and that thing. He is always looking for manorathena, manorath.
Ambition.
Asato, asato dhavato bahi. He is running after his external energy of Krishna, making big plans in the mind, which is asat, which is temporary. And that's why he is always frustrated, because sometimes he may success in plan, but that is also temporary. Eventually he will lose this. And that's why a devotee, a bhakta, he develops all the good qualities which are in Daivi, they are called Daivi qualities or Sura qualities. So we will go to the 16th chapter and we'll read eventually that Daivasura Sampada Vibhaga Yoga, that all the living entities are divided into two categories, Asura and Sura, or Devatas and Asura. And what are those qualities? We'll find out where we are. It's not for judging others, it's judging ourselves. Where do I stand? So those qualities are explained in the 16th chapter of BhagavadGita, 16th Adhyaya, Daivasura Sampada Vibhaga. But yes, so it is, so going to Dhamma is basically associating with sadhus, learning from them, and slowly, whatever our abilities, applying that in our life. So that is what the purpose of going to Dhamma is. So it's 11 p.m. here, so 11:30 in India. So we'll stop here today, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. I think
Hare Krishna.
very beautiful
Hare
verses
Krishna.
we read today. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you
Hare
very much
Krishna.
for your suggestion.